Hello, good day to you. How are you today? I hope you are good, okay? Good. Today we are going to be learning mathematics, and under mathematics we are going to be learning about time. We are going to be learning about time, okay? Are we ready? We are going to know the meaning of time in today's section and how we can tell the time, okay? Now, what do we mean by time? Time is how we measure and understand when things happen. It helps us to know when to wake up, go to school, eat our meals, play, and go to bed. We use clocks and calendars to help us keep track of time, but today we're going to be talking about clocks, okay? We're going to be talking about clocks. The time is divided into hours, minutes, and seconds. We have here two types of clocks or two types of time. We have the analog time and the digital time, but today we're going to be focusing on the analog clock, okay? Learning about time helps us organize our day and know when different activities should happen. So we are learning about time to help us know when to sleep, when to eat, when to go to bed, when to play, when to go to school. Okay? Are we ready? Good. Let's move on. We have the three hands that represent the analog clock. If we look inside our clock, we have three strokes inside it, right? They are called the hands of the clock, okay? We have the shortest hand here. The shortest hand is known as the hour hand. It's known as what? Hour hand, and it points to the hour. It moves slowly and make one full revolution every 12 hours. The hour hand tell us about the hour, okay? What hour it is. Then we go over to the long hand. The long hand is known as the minute hand, okay? The minute hand tells us how much time has passed from the hour. Do we understand? Good. Then we have this tiny hand. Most clock don't have it, some clock have it. The tiny hand is known as the seconds hand, okay? It ticks while moving. Okay, do we understand? Let's move on. We're going to be looking at some examples on how to read time, okay? When we see that the long hand is at 12, when we see that the long hand is at 12, it is called o'clock. It is called what? O'clock. Whenever you check your time and you see that the long hand is pointed towards 12, it's called o'clock. It tells us about the minutes, right? Good. So when it's at 12, it's called o'clock. So we're going to be looking at some examples on how to read time, okay? When the long hand is at 12 and the short hand is at 1, it is called what? The long hand is at 12 and the short hand is at 1. Remember, the short hand tells us about hour, and the hour here is 1. And the minutes, the long hand tells us about the minute, and the minute here is 12. And we said when the long hand is at 12, it's called o'clock. So the time will say 1 o'clock. It will say 1 o'clock. Do you understand? Okay, very good. We have another example here. We have when the long hand is in 12 and the short hand is in 2, it is called 2 o'clock, because we said the short hand is the hour hand and it tells us about the hour. The hour here is 2. And we say the long hand is the minute hand and it tells us about the minute. And when the long hand is at 12, it is called o'clock. So the time says 2 o'clock. It says 2 o'clock. Do we understand? Okay, very good. We are progressing, right? Good. We move over to the next example. When the long hand is at 12 and the short hand is at 6, it is called what? 6 o'clock. Correct. because the short hand is the hour hand and it tells us the hour, and the hour here is 6, and the long hand, which is the minute hand, is called, when it's at 12, it is called o'clock. So our time says 6 o'clock. Okay, we got that right? Correct. So we have other examples for us to practice, so we are going to move on. I hope we are enjoying learning about time. Good. We have here, when the long hand is at 12 and the short hand is at 12, it is called what? It's also called 12 o'clock. Remember, the short hand tells us about the hour, right? And the hour here is 12. And the long hand also tells us about the minute, right? And when the long hand is at 12, it is called o'clock. We remember saying that, right? So when the two hands are pointing towards 12, it is called 12 o'clock. The hour is 12. Okay, do we understand? We got that right? Correct. Good. Now we're going to move over to another example. Are we ready? Good. We have here, when the long hand is at 12 and the short hand is at 9, it is called what? Can you help me with this? The time will tell us. It is what? 9 o'clock. Correct. Because the short hand tells us about the hour, and the hour here is 9. And the long hand tells us about the minutes. And when the long hand is pointed towards 12, it is called o'clock. So our time says 9 o'clock. Good. Okay, we understood this exercise, right? Great. So we're going to be moving on to the next one. We have here, when the long hand is on 3, it is called quarter past. Now, the long hand has moved from 12 to 3. When you see the long hand at 3, it is called quarter past. It is what? Quarter past. It has moved from 12 to 3. So anywhere we see the long hand at 3, it is called quarter past. Okay? So we are going to be using some examples like we did in the previous one to tell the time with quarter past. Are we ready? Okay, let's go. When the long hand is in 3 and the short hand is in 12, it is called what? Quarter past 12. Remember, the short hand tells us the hour and the long hand tells us the minute. So we will say quarter past 12. Because the long hand has moved from 12 to 3. It is quarter. It is what? Quarter past. Okay? Do we understand? Good. We have another example here. When the long hand is in 3 and the short hand is at 4, it is called what? The long hand is at 3 and the short hand is at 4. It is called quarter past 4. Quarter past 4. Okay, the short hand tells us about the hour. The hour is 4, and the minute hand tells us how much time has passed. And it says it's quarter. So quarter past 4. Okay, do we understand? Good. We have another example here. When the long hand is in 3 and the short hand is in 3, it is called what? Quarter past 3. The two hands are in 3, the long hand and the short hand. The long hand is the minute hand and the short hand is the hour hand, and the hour says 3. So it is quarter past 3. Okay? I hope we can do this on our own right now. Good. We're going to move over to the next example. We're going to do it together, okay? Here we have, when the long hand is in 3 and the short hand is in 6, it is called what? The long hand is at 3 and the short hand is at 6. Quarter past 6, correct. Very good. Let's clap for ourselves. Good. Okay, we're going to move on to know how to tell the time. Okay, Here we have when the long hand isn't 6, it is called half past. It is called what? Half past. Now, our long hand has moved from 12 to 3. From 12, we said it is called o'clock. Then, when it's at 3, it is called quarter past. Now, it's at 6. We are going to say it is half past because it is half of the clock. So, it is half past. So we are going to be using some examples to tell the time, okay, like we did in the previous ones. Are we ready? Good. Here we have when the long hand is on 6 and the short hand is on 8, it is called what? Remember we said when the long hand is at 6, it is called half past. So the short hand is at 8 and the short hand is called the hour hand, right? It tells us the hour. So it will be 8:30. Okay? Is this the short hand or the long hand? Is the short hand, right? Good. And this is the long hand. So the long hand is at 6, and when it's at 6, we say it's half past. So the time here is 8:30. Okay? We got that right? Good. We'll move over to our next example. We have when the long hand is on 6 and the short hand is on 2, it is called what? Correct. 2:30. It is 2:30. Did we get that? Good. Okay. We understood that, right? Because the long hand is the minute and it tells us how many minutes has passed from the hour, and the short hand is the hour hand. It tells us the hour. So it's 2:30. The hour is 2. Okay, we understood that, right? Good. Let's move over to the next one. Are we enjoying the course? Good. We are learning about time, and we say when we are learning about time, it helps us know when to organize our activities, right? When to sleep, when to eat, when to play, when to go to school, when to read. Okay, so we need to know how to tell the time to be able to organize our activities. Let's move on. Here we have when the long hand is at 6 and the short hand is at 12, it is called, remember when the long hand is at 6, it is called what? Half past. So the short hand is at 12 and the short hand is telling us the hour, right? And the hour here is 12. So we'll read the time as 12:30. Do you understand? Good. We have done so much examples, so we understood this, right? The long hand is at 6 and the short hand is at 12. So it's read 12:30. Okay? Good. Let's move on to the next example. We understood, right? Okay. When the long hand is on 6 and the short hand is on 1, it is called what? Okay, I'm waiting. It is called 1:30. Correct. Because the long hand is at 6, and when the long hand is at 6, it's called half past. And when the short hand is at 1, it tells us the hour, and the hour there is 1. So it is called 1:30. Okay, we got that right? Correct. Now we're going to take the last example. Okay, good. Here we have when the long hand is on 6 and the short hand is on 6, it is called what? The long hand is on 6, and we say when the long hand is on 6, it is called half past. And now the short hand is also at 6 and it tells us the hour. The hour here is what? 6. So it is called 6:30. It's called 6:30, right? We understood this exercise. So we're going to be practicing more because practice make perfect. What did we say time help us with? Time helps us to know when to organize activities, right? When to sleep, when to eat, and when to do other things, right? Good. So we're going to practice more examples using the previous ones. Here we say draw a clock and insert these times. We can do that, right? Good.